Hey guys, it's me, Travis with PlayerProps.ai. This is what we're looking at for Tuesday's games. Let's do a a quick recap of yesterday. Everything happened exactly how we wanted it to. The goal of the show yesterday was going 2 out of 3, which means only one miss to still make profit. And guess what? We only had one miss, so that worked out. The two things that didn't work out is that one of them, the pitcher got scratched late after the show came out, and then the one L that we took out of the 3 plays that we were looking at. If you weren't paying attention to this game, let's just say it added a new thing to our ban list. We did the last play of the day, which was the only one that missed, was Arizona. LA. We had the LA pitcher under 2.5 earned runs. This man gets into the 7th inning with only 1 earned run allowed. He normally, as you saw from us pulling up his stuff, normally never gets into the 7th inning, but he had a slightly lower than average pitch count, so we got into the 7th inning. What happens in the 7th inning? He hits the first batter. He pegs him with the ball. The next batter, he gives up a solo bomb. The next batter, he gives up a single. So these are 3 bad things that have happened back to back to back, and this guy is near his average pitch count of getting taken out. And he's in the game, and he's essentially collapsing. Now, if you're a manager in MLB or baseball in general, and you have more than 0 brain cells, what do you do in the situation? Well, you go to your bullpen. It is when he gave up. So it was hit by pitch, solo bomb, and a single. Now, by the time the single was on base, there was already 2 outs. So there's 2 outs, and again, managers that have higher than 1 brain cell, let's get him out of there. Let's send somebody in just to get this out. Make sure that the guy on first base doesn't score. But the LA manager, who's for whatever reason thinks that this is the NBA and getting the #1 overall draft pick changes your stars, decided that it was in his best interest to keep this guy who is falling apart, who has already done 3 bad things in a very short period of time, in an inning that he normally never pitches into. He's like, you know what? We're going to keep him in there. Let's keep him in the 7th inning. Maybe he can get this one out. And what happens? He doesn't get that one out. He gives up a double, which means the first guy with 2 outs on first base scores, which makes it his 3rd run allowed. And we needed him to get under 3. So that we should have hit everything. But that one didn't hit. And so the new ban list rule, which I have to add to the channel and Discord after I record this, we do not go under any Los Angeles Angels pitching props moving forward. Once the manager tells us that they are a complete idiot and they should not be managing a professional baseball team, we learn from that and we say, okay, if you are a very, very dumb person, we're not going to put our money on the player because the projections, the AI, we can't predict how dumb the manager is. We can only predict how good or bad the opposing team is or how good or bad the player is that we're looking at. We cannot predict how dumb the manager is. And so the only way to save us from idiot manager choices, aka last night's game, is to not ever bet on idiot manager teams. I think we have something on the ban list for Tampa because Tampa has a pretty dumb manager as well. From last season, something stupid happened. So anything moving forward, we are not betting under LA Angels starting pitchers. Because if it's under, you're going to need a pitcher taken out of the game sooner than later. But if the manager is too dumb to take a bad pitcher out of the game, fatigued bad pitcher out of the game, then we're not going to play those cards. So what we are going to play is something here for today. There's only one WNBA game today, but tomorrow's show is definitely going to be WNBA because there's a ton. It's the last games of the Commissioner's Cup group stage, if you want to call it group stage. Liberty have already punched their ticket on the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference. If Aces won last night, I think they would have punched their ticket, but they lost. And so I think it's still up for grabs from like 5 teams. Long story short, tomorrow's WNBA. But we're not going to play around with that 1 game slate right now. As you can see, handful of MLB. So let's take a peek. Speaking of LA Angels pitchers, we're not going over. We're just not going under. However, we're also not going over when the Arizona Diamondbacks are not striking out against left-handed pitchers. They are absolute bottom, near the bottom this season, and pretty close to the bottom in the last 7 games played. No touchy, red on over. So not touching this, even though it has the difference here. And it doesn't have the 1.0, and so that's the only play for strikeouts that has the 1.00 difference. I know he's hit this a lot, but 100% last 5, only missed this once in his last 10. But again, what the sportsbooks don't want you to know is that Arizona doesn't strike out against left-handed pitchers. We can go more into that if you want more details. Go to trends, clap on team. We're looking at hitter strikeouts versus left-handed pitchers. Sort by the least. Arizona, second least amount. At home? Wait, is this game at home or away? At Arizona. Look at this nonsense. Versus left-handed pitchers at home. Not only do they have the least amount of strikeouts, this is insane. 4.67 is absurdly low. But look at the second place. They almost have 2 strikeouts less per average than second place. These are important things to pay attention to. Oh, he's got like 90%, 100%. But those games, he wasn't pitching against the absolute least strikeout-friendly team against left-handed pitchers at home this season. And even not at home. If you just put home and away together, they're still number 2. Can't do it. We're smarter than that. Can he still hit? Yes, this is not saying he's not going to hit. This is saying that we don't bet on things that aren't optimal. And this is telling us this is not an optimal play. Because there's no other 1.0 differences, let's peep the unders here. We have a 1.0 here, but the sportsbooks favor the over. Not enough. Not enough. Baltimore is the 8th most strikeout-friendly team versus right-handed pitchers. I know he has a higher line than most pitchers do of 6.5. But the sportsbooks favor the over for a reason. So another day of no strikeouts, which is fine because we have a lot more stats than just strikeouts. Next one we look at is pitching outs. There's only one pitcher today that has a projection higher than his line, and it's Ryan of Colorado Rockies. So I'm looking at these. Sportsbooks favor the over, sportsbooks favor the over, sportsbooks favor the over, sportsbooks don't favor the over. And he's got a massive monster line of 18.5. Jesus Luzardo. I don't like... So, now, remember, 18 outs means he pitched 6 innings exactly. A lot of pitchers get pulled at 5 or at 6 or at 7. More often than not, if you were to take all of pitching for the last like 10 years, you'll see that most of the outs are identical to a full inning pitched. 5, 6, or 7, or 8, or 9. Because you only really get pulled in the middle is if you are doing good, but your pitch count's not high enough to get pulled yet, or you're doing really bad and your pitch count doesn't matter because you're doing bad. But what's interesting, so last time he versed Miami here, he had 19 outs, which 19 outs is 6.1 innings pitched, 102 pitches. So 1 start this season, 19. 4 starts last season, went 50-50. He's got 4 straight starts of 100 plus pitches against Miami. So we just have to hope he doesn't pitch into the 7th. Hits allowed. What I want to see here is I want to see the hitting Versus left-handed pitchers. Good, good, bad, 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 bad. Miami Marlins are bad against lefties. With the 1 and 2 hitters, pretty good. Everybody else, booty cheeks. So if they're not driving up, he had a start. What is this? Month and a half ago, gave up 8 hits, but only gave up 2 runs, and still got to pitch into the 7th inning. Not in love with that. Jesus Luzardo is a really good pitcher, so not in love with that. So what was the other one that we saw? It's 1527, Toronto. So I was looking at Michael King here, but he gets at 17.5, 6 full innings, and he hits. And so he averages 6 full innings. Like, look at all this. The 18.5 line of Jesus means not only does he have to pitch 6 more innings, but he has to come out in the 7th and get at least 1 out in the 7th. But the Marlins absolutely suck at left-handed pitchers. Yeah, so far against St. Louis this season, he's hitting 100%, and his 1 start, pitched 6 full innings. Only 86 pitches, too. This looks like it was out of the bullpen 3 years ago. I'm not sure. This might have been out of the bullpen as well 2 years ago. But it's been a while. Finally versed him a month and a half ago. I was able to get to 6 full innings with only 86 pitches. Not a fan of that. I think there was one more. The sportsbooks favor the under. Is it Peyton here? Can't go under on Reed. We already talked about that ban list item. Okay, so the only other one here that we can look at is Peyton. Versing Toronto. Toronto's favored. In 2 starts against... Oh, it's not a start. In this start against Toronto earlier this year, got pulled at 68 pitches, 4.2 innings, only 14 outs. So it seems that they lit him up a little bit. Which is kind of what we're going for here. Is he going to get 6 full innings against Toronto today? It's a lefty. Let's see how many people are good against lefties. Toronto is not good against lefties. Red. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we don't have much data on Charles yet, but the first 5 in the lineup are pretty good against lefties. The last 3, not so much. But even if 6 wasn't, you could still say a majority are good. That's interesting. They only give up 3 hits and 3 earned runs. I wonder if that was like 3 solo bombs or just a lot of walks. So the next stat we're going to look at is hits allowed. He's got shelled the last 2 games. 9 hits, 7 hits, 94 pitches, 99 pitches. There's an upward trend here of him getting hit more. Yeah, no, we're not going to touch the hits allowed. Not until he shows us he can stop getting shelled. But if he's getting shelled, pitching outs makes a little bit more sense. But it looks like he's pretty consistently getting 6. This is the beginning of the season here, this New York Yankees game. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 starts the season. 6 have gone 6 innings or more. Only 3 haven't. His first start against Toronto this year. 3 hits, 3 earned runs. He may have left because of an injury. Unless he gave back-to-back-to-back bombs. I don't know. 3 innings. 4.2 innings against Atlanta. I feel like he's getting 6 innings too consistently. Majority of his starts are 6 innings plus. So I don't think there's any outplays today. No strikeouts, no outs. Hits allowed. Hunter Brown versus Detroit. Detroit was the worst offense in the league until we started looking at them and then they started to wake up. 1 hit against Boston and 78 pitches, but... Oh, this is his first start since coming back from injury, so we're not going to touch him. His last start was 331. We don't touch people coming back from injury because we don't know. Is he going to get limited or not? So no touchy. Chicago Cubs, Edward Cabrera. We need a 1.0 difference, and it's not quite there. Colorado bats versus right-handed pitchers. No, yes. It's at Chicago. If it was at Colorado, it'd be more interesting because that's a very hitter-friendly park, but it's at Chicago. Or else it would say Chicago at Colorado, and it doesn't. But I mean, most of this guy starts. Where's the first start of this year? 1 hit against LA. LA sucks, but Colorado also sucks. 80 pitches, 1 hit. 97 pitches, 1 hit. And then he just started getting sloppy. Start off the year good. 2 1-hitters. And then 8, 6, 9, 7. Only gave up 3 against the White Sox, but got pulled really early anyway. Possibly could have gave more. 4 hits against allowed. He needed 1 more here. He got hooked, but only 61 pitches. Gave up 4 hits in 61. And then pitched more 80 pitches, 83. Oh, he just played them in his last start. Yeah, 5 days ago. Versing the same team, but this was at Colorado. He gave up 5 and 83 pitches, gave up 5 hits. So this Colorado team just versed him. And I'm trying to think if that benefits the pitcher more, if it benefits the bats more. I feel like there's a benefit to both sides. But I feel like there's more of a benefit to the hitter because you remember, like, this is his pitching repertoire. Typically in this, he pitches, he throws these things. You recognize his delivery, the speed, all of that stuff. I know because you verse all these different pitchers, but having versed somebody just 5 days ago, Colorado has the most hits. Granted, in the last 7, they got to play in Vegas, which is their home stadium is Little League Ballpark. But still, 10th this season is interesting. The worst they have is Castro at 207. If you remove Castro, the worst they have is 230. So we go lefty, probably lefty, 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 possibly lefty here. So it's not the 1.00 difference, but it's interesting nonetheless. We're just going to back pocket that for now. And there's no other difference or anything else. We're going to back pocket this. Let's look at ERA. Cleveland is 10th in runs scored versus left-handed pitchers, but near the bottom of the barrel last 7 games. Can they get 2 off of Robert Gasser? Accuracy is very low, 28.6. There's only 7 games here, but this means he's a very unpredictable pitcher. Gave up 6 earned runs his last start, but again, that was at Las Vegas, and those are easy runs. These are bullpen stuff. This looks like it was a start. 2 earned runs in 4 innings. 4 earned runs in 4.1. 1 against San Francisco. An 83 and the 93 pitches. Let me look at the hits allowed here. Upward trend of hits allowed. Three, 4, 5, 8. Again, take this with a grain of salt. Las Vegas plays in a Little League stadium. But I switched hits a lot because I want to see this. How are the Guardians doing against the lefties? Travis, Bazana. Oh my gosh, this is so ugly. These, ugly. There's 3 people that have a 250 and higher average, and those 3 people, 2 of them literally have a 250, and the only person that doesn't. 257 is, oh, this is very ugly. This is probably why this is just bad. They have to be active in the trade market. They have to get somebody that can smash lefties. That's ugly. I can't, no. You can't bank on 2 earned runs when you can't even hit the ball. Okay, so that's the only thing that was 1.0 difference. And it looks like there's nothing on the under that's 1.0. Is there anything else I want to look at for pitchers? I never, ever, ever look at walks. But I know that's something our Discord likes to do often. Oh, I thought I was looking at walks allowed. Oh, this is just hitter walks. No, I don't like hitter walks. I like them much less anyway. So the only other thing we were back pocketing was the hits allowed was an underplay, right? It was the Chicago Cubs guy. Was it over? Oh yeah, it was over versus Colorado, wasn't it? Yeah, there we go. So because this checks 5 out of 6 boxes, the box it doesn't check is it doesn't check that it's a 1.00 difference. So this is not an 80% play. This becomes a 20% play. Because Colorado has the averages, right? 249 we like rounding up. I don't know if 246 is enough to round up. But no, yes, 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 no, no. This is a whole lot better versing the handedness of the pitcher than the Cleveland Guardians, like by a mile. And the fact that the Rockies just got to see all of his pitching arsenal, his repertoire of pitches 5 days ago. So yeah, this is a 5 out of 6, 20% play. And through 51 games, 49% is a whole lot better than that 20-something percent for that other guy. Ugh. Yeah, let's just hope that they get to him early. Who knows? Maybe they can get 5 in the first inning and be a zero sweat. I showed you guys on yesterday's show this here. This was our Y3 tracking. So I put out a video around 5:17 teaching you guys the Y3 strategy. There were two games yesterday. So after I reminded you guys about it, if you looked for the Y3 strategy, these were the two games that qualified. The Tampa Bay LAD game and then the Detroit Houston game. Both of those qualified based on the rules. So, and they both hit in the very first inning, which is the most ideal. So yesterday, the profit I showed you was about $1,800 for the season. The profit is now $2,135. We are now over $2,000 of profit since mid-May based on this Y3 strategy. If you want to learn how to do this, there's a free channel in Discord called MLB Y3 Strat. I think that's the name of the channel. Yes, I'm very confident. There's a video in there. Watch it, learn it. If you're able to watch the entire game, or at least the first 3 innings of a game, this has made us a ton of money in the last month. We just hit, we're not even at a full month since this first one. We're still 2 days away. $2,000 in a month, within less than a month, up $2,100 based on the $100 bet plus 105 odds that Joey uses for tracking. The guidelines work. We have a lot of fun things, a lot of guidelines and rules and cheat sheets and stuff that'll help make you more money than not using PlayerProps.ai at all. And if you want to have more money at the end of the day than what you started with, you want to have $2,100 plus in profit for MLB within the last 30 days, maybe look at the Y3 Strat. MLB Y3 Strat, name of the channel, in Discord, videos in there, watch that one. But yeah, good luck guys, we'll see you in Discord.